Hello everybody in all the corners of the globe. Just making a video as Leafy Concern to say that I recommend this book, Antiquities by Cynthia Ozick. I recently finished it and I liked it a lot. Full disclosure, I am a fan of Cynthia Ozick. I've long claimed to be a fan of Cynthia Ozick even though I haven't read much of her really. A long while ago, I looked through this book, The Puttermesser Papers by her, and I think I even underlined a few things. And I enjoyed it a lot, and I found the grotesqueness of some parts of the conclusion very stimulating. This is definitely a book to reread. Look how shiny those National Book Award congrats are. Those National Book Award plaudits. I think I checked out from the library in Knoxville once this book, The Shawl, by her, and I read it really fast, kind of like I read Puttermesser Papers, and I got a sense for how good her prose is and how tragic her stories are, and how forlorn some of her characters can be, but I didn't really comprehend much of the book, and I admit I didn't read it very slowly. However, it's one of my core beliefs that on a first read of a book, you don't really remember much at all. It's really tough to comprehend anything. I think that you really need to reread it to learn a book. Both of these are acknowledged masterpieces. I claim to be a fan of her, and I've long wanted to read this book, The Messiah of Stockholm, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I really like the cover and the spine, etc. I really am glad to have this book. At one point I had 2 copies of it. Very recently I was reading the first few pages of her book, Dictation, while taking breaks from singing to kind of rest my voice, and it was really fantastic, and I do feel an affinity I do feel like a similarity, I do feel an empathy for Cynthia Ozick's admiration of Henry James. I've recently been a really big fan of Henry James. Anytime anyone brings him up, I'm reminded, kind of like David Mitchell gets really excited when he's reminded of how good Charles Dickens is. I'm really excited by how good Henry James is and how much opportunity there is for me if I happen to learn the way Henry James thinks. Not that I should emulate him in any other regard. I also recently read a piece out of this book, Quarrel and Quandary by her. I had another book of hers called The Din in the Head, and I don't know where that one is right now, although maybe I could find it. Maybe I gave it away or something. Here's a peek into that table of contents. The one I read was about A Prophet of Modernism on page 155 about Gertrude Stein. I really wanted to read that because I'm a big Stein head, and I thought that the piece was good, and it didn't really add to my appreciation of Gertrude Stein at all, except to the extent that now I know Cynthia Ozick liked Gertrude Stein, which makes me like both women even more than I already did. So it turns out I have quite a little collection of her books, and I've only read some of them. I've actually looked into all of them, which feels okay. Oh, except for The Messiah of Stockholm. But then we have to talk about this one, Antiquities, right now. The purpose of this booktube channel is, number one, to create a repository of pictures of books and books being handled, so that whenever someone can't get to a bookstore, they can just watch these videos and experience the pleasure of, oh, that's a cool book, let me pick it up and flip through it and see what the pages feel like, how heavy they are, etc. And then the second purpose of this channel is to just keep a list of authors and books that, even though I don't understand them, are definitely in my mind of interest to people who enjoy reading casually and enjoy reading them things scholarly as well. I want this book channel to give someone the pleasure of like YouTube searching an author and actually getting a video that's about their books and gives them a chance to look at their books and understand that there is an enthusiasm for this author and a reason for enthusiasm. I want to give a shout out to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where this book was composed, and Crawfordsville, Indiana, where the book was printed and bound. And I also want to give a shout out to Soon Young Kwon for designing the book. The design is really good. Everyone I've shown it to has been like, this is really nice. I actually set a cold glass of water on the book, and it actually sweated drops of water in a ring on the dust jacket of the book, but the dust jacket is water resistant. The way that the cover feels is very similar to the way the cover feels of this Jenny Awful book, another really beautiful book that I'm proud to own. Although if I give both of these books away, then this channel will have a chance to fulfill its third purpose, which is to keep a record of books I've owned, even when I have to give them away for whatever reason, moving or drunken generosity or something. While I'm giving shout outs and I have this awful book in front of me, I want to just give a shout out to Lancaster, Pennsylvania yet again for composing / typesetting another beautiful book. And I want to give a shout out to Berryville, Virginia for printing and binding a beautiful book of their own. And then also to Michael Kolika for belonging to, for putting another entry of beautiful books into the list of beautiful things that are produced by Alfred Knopf. Fourth purpose of this channel is to really out me as an eccentric. Like a boring eccentric, not an eccentric with any coherent philosophy. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Coherent philosophies actually make you a more boring eccentric. I think the incoherence is better, right? I bought this book from the Barnes & Noble in Knoxville. Text of the novel occupies 179 pages. We don't use computers on this channel, but Cynthia Ozick is, as of this recording, 93 years old. There's actually a picture in the book of the archaeologist that's most frequently discussed. I wonder to what extent the men in Cynthia Ozick's novels are patterned on the writers that she admires, like Nabokov, Henry James, John Updike, Conrad, those people. This book reminded me of Moby Dick, and actually the whale that, or big fish that swallowed Jonah is mentioned in the book, and I feel like it's kind of an oblique reference to Moby Dick, because here you have this elusive white whale of this kid who's named Ben Zion Elephantin, who it can't be laid hold of, and in that way is sort of like the white whale. That there's a, it's really sick that there's a cool primary document at the heart of the book, like it's marrow. I think the word marrow is used later on. I really liked this list on page 18 of all of the appurtenances of archaeology that are listed by the memoirist's father. In this novel, I was very interested in the strained relation or estranged relationship between the author and his son, who is in Hollywood. I think that there always comes this moment where the older person says, hey, do you want to use these notes I made to kind of make a bigger product by using your youth to kind of rally some money, to gather some money together in the industry that you're in, and apply my notes to that money to make a big, lasting, monumental masterpiece that'll survive the ages. The son's response to that request feels really true and a little heartbreaking. If you're already a memoirist, this book will probably make you a more ardent memoirist. If you've ever been to school, this book will break your heart. If you've ever retired, probably it will too. But this book is so beautiful and constructed that it'll, it'll be heartbreaking, but you'll be really reassured to have the book as an object, as a remembrance of your own suffering. The vagaries of real estate dealing are also a source of emotional motion. I love when a character turns toward the silhouetted shelves of a character's books, as if by his look he could swallow them all, swallow a whole shelf of books with looking. And now that's purpose number 5. Real estate and architecture are a source of lasting symbolism and drama. It's like nowadays every comfortable old space submits to this fad of architectural vastness. Every public room a modernist boast. I really can't teach you anything about this book because I don't know anything about this book, but I'm gonna say go ahead and read it and get it, especially if you're a fan of Cynthia Ozick, and furthermore, if you're a fan of any writer and you'd like to read them, just go ahead and read them, feel no shame, and have a great day.